Merry Christmas again, everyone. Good to see you here as we are finishing up the new year at Surprise Church here in Bismarck. My name is Matt Anderson. I'm the lead pastor at Surprise. And wherever you're watching from, I just want to say welcome. Thank you for joining us for our final worship production, worship cast of the year. And so if you're watching in Bismarck, in your comfies somewhere, or if you're across the state or across the country or even across the world, super great to have you with us. Let's get started with a couple house cleaning items. Follow these prompts right now to get on our church app. You can download a discussion guide. You can answer questions about the message and discuss them with friends. You can join a virtual group, an in-person group. You can give. You can do all kinds of cool stuff, jump on a volunteer team. And you can turn in a first-time guest connect card. And if you do that through the app, we'll send you a gift. So I would love to have you connect with us for the first time. If you're brand new, we're really glad to have you with us watching today. So download the app or follow these text prompts that are on the screen now if you'd like to just get involved using just a text function. And you see the different options of how to get involved or the action steps you might want to take. And we'll show that a couple times here today so you don't have to memorize it. But if there's something that jumps out at you, like text that connect card to get the gift, or jump in a group, or just learn more about Surprise, share a prayer request, we'd love to hear from you. So thanks for that. Before we do anything else, we also want to check in on Facebook for charity. So go to Facebook and check into the Surprise Church Bismarck Facebook page. Every 5 check-ins, this is the final week that we're going to be able to do this because it's a December cause. Every 5 check-ins provides a book for a kid in Africa to help raise the literacy rates through partnership with Books for Africa. You can use the hashtag give books. And you can take a selfie of yourself while you're sitting, wherever you're sitting, if you want to post a selfie. So thank you so much for your help, checking in and doing good. Speaking of doing good, there's 3 ways to give. If you want to talk about ways to support the Surprise mission, you can use the app that we just talked about downloading to give. You can also text the word give or Surprise to that number, or you can go to our website and support our mission that way. We also have one specific wish list that we created to anybody who wants to do a year-end gift. You can text the word wish list to 701-380-8210, and that will allow you to donate towards our wish list. You can go to that website if you want to click on the wish list and look at some of the specifics. We have everything from a $200 battery charger up to a $2,000 computer that we need for video production and everything in between. So if you'd like to give a year-end gift or give towards one of those items, you can just simply reach out to us and we'll help to process your gift before the year end. And our ministry team thanks you in advance for your kindness, and the many of you who have donated to this wish list, we're so grateful for your help, allowing us to continue to provide quality worship videos and worship environments and ministries like this. So if you're watching at a distance and you've loved being a part of this year in 2020, help us by giving a gift to help us in 2021. We also, as far as giving goes, are starting something called the Dollar Club in Bismarck. We're going to pick a different cause, a different charity every month. And we have one picked out for December I'll tell you about in a minute. And if you want to join the Dollar Club that month, just give $1. Or if you want to give more, give more. And you can join the Dollar Club for the month, every single different month that we have, to just be a part of the circle of people that are supporting some really good local causes. This month's Dollar Club cause is a charity that's kind of near and dear to our hearts because it was started by our own Sargiana Wutzke. Sargiana noticed that there was a lot of kids in our community that, because they are underprivileged, maybe from a challenged family in some way, shape, or form, they weren't experiencing the gift of the arts as maybe some other children may be able to more easily. And so she started this cause to help kids from underprivileged backgrounds to be able to experience the gift of the arts. They have helped hundreds and hundreds of kids in our local community to be able to do things with music and dance and art and all kinds of cool things. And so we're really glad to support them this month. You can join the Dollar Club and support Arts for All this month by texting Surprise to 77977. And then when you're giving, you can support the Bismarck Mandan Dollar Club Fund, and that'll go to support Arts for All this month. So thanks for your help in that regard as well. We don't have another Sunday worship service at Surprise until January 3rd, and that is when we're back to Shiloh Christian School on Sundays, 9:30 and 11 a.m. as usual. And that's going to be our Comfy Sunday, an annual celebration of the comfort that goes along with worship. And so we're going to enjoy that special Sunday where folks roll out of bed and come in the comfies. And whatever you sleep in, as long as it's church appropriate, it's fine with us. So join us, get the kids in their comfies, and get your grandma in her comfies, and bring your bathrobe, and come and enjoy a great season of worship with us as we get started for 2021. We're going to take a look back today. We're going to take a look back at 2020 to really think what God did this year. It was a pretty momentous year. It was a seismic shift in every industry, in every situation people might find themselves at. We're going to take a look back and see a few things that we learned in 2020 so that we can build on that as we look ahead at 2021. A couple things that took place. Number one, our vision at Surprise this year, it was prepared for a year like this because our vision was to have 80% of our worship attenders in a group or a team. And so when COVID hit, we realized we can still do that. We may not have people volunteering on teams on Sunday morning, but we can ask our volunteer teams to say, hey, instead of serving, just become community groups like everybody else. And then talk about our video messages at home or online with your community group. And so we repurposed our volunteer teams and our community groups. A lot of them just went virtual, and we're able to do Zoom community groups over the spring and summer months when COVID prevented in-person gatherings. And so it was a really, really kind of affirming moment for us as we realized, wow, what we're doing, it's right. It's right on target for good times and challenging times. Teaching people how to group up and do life together outside of Sunday mornings is our vision, and it's a perfect vision for a time like this. So groups were really what we hung our hat on for 2020, and we're proud to say that we actually accomplished our goal. We had more people in 2020 in a group or a ministry team than we had the year prior, which, if you know anything about the challenges that churches went through in 2020, that's a huge victory to celebrate. So thanks to all of you who supported and were a part of our groups and our ministry teams, because it was a really, really exciting year. We did a series in the spring called Time to Grow. And as people were discussing the topics in their community groups, we said, hey, let's not just waste this time. Let's not just tread water for 6 months, 3 months, or however long this is going to be. Let's say God has got this season given to us. Let's use it as a gift to grow spiritually, to grow as human beings, to grow as a church. And so we talked about how we can use this season for personal growth. We also talked about resilience in our series called Bounce that we did over the summer. We talked about how do we learn how to take advantage of challenging times to come back better, to not let difficulties make us break, but rather let God would show us how to bounce through challenging times and to develop characteristics and attributes that are going to make us more resilient. We did a series called Faith as a Team Sport, where we talked about the 5 different giftings given to the body of Christ by God, and that whenever teams in life or in churches are successful, they tend to have each of these different skill sets represented. We called you to join us on ministry teams or contribute through your gifts to your group setting, because we realize that when people are living out of how God made them, everyone is happier and stronger together. And so we learned how to more optimally function as a team this year as a church. When fall came around, we did our generosity party. Every year we do that in the fall. We celebrate, how generous our God is in Jesus, and we challenge one another to dream about God's vision for our budgets. We gave some really powerful resources to people to build a prayer-based budget so that they could prayerfully create a plan for how much God's calling us to give, save, and spend in the year ahead. A lot of people downloaded that template and created a prayer-based budget. We had dozens of people submit an estimated giving card. As they prayed about their budgets, they were able to then declare, here's what God's calling me to give towards a surprise mission for the next year. And we even gathered some really powerful stories from Lynette and Brian Bellerud, as well as Renee Condos, talking about how generosity wasn't just something where they saw an impact from the money they gave. They also saw a personal impact. Generosity has an impact primarily on the giver. And so whenever we talk about giving a surprise, we don't think of it as we need money. We don't. God is going to take care of us just fine. We believe that all of us need generosity for our own benefit because it's a huge opportunity to grow and be more like our generous God. So that was a really meaningful time for us, as it is every year. And then we created a course this year that actually became a virtual small group during the COVID season called Surprise 101. Now, Surprise 101 is going to be here because it's a course that walks through our 7 surprise values. And those 7 surprise values are spelled out in our new Constitution, which is being finalized right now. That new Constitution is going to be active in the new year as our current temporary board approves it. And then we'll begin looking for our new Board of Elders team, which is going to oversee all of our visionary ministry at Surprise, oversee our finance team ministries, and me as the lead pastor as I try to implement God's vision for Surprise Church. And so we're really excited to be at the point where we can say, here are our values, and here's the elder board and the Constitution that's going to make sure that we structure ourselves around them. As you know, we're a startup church, only 5-6 years old, and so to be at this point where we're able to say this is how we're structured around our vision, we take it that seriously that we actually structure around it. It's really, truly an honor and a blessing. Let's take a look at those values. This is how we want to behave at Surprise Church. Now, it says, number one, lost people matter. We do things because people that don't go to Surprise Church, who are struggling and walking through life with confusion about who God is and who they are, that need to be surprised, they are on the front of our minds at all times at Surprise. They matter to God, so they matter to us. As a church, we make bold moves. We don't just tread water, get by, go for mediocre. We allow tension to be a part of our lives because we believe that the gospel calls us to make bold moves and forgives us when we fail. So we're not afraid of taking risks and being bold at Surprise. Missional community, banding together in groups to make a difference in one another's lives spiritually, to love one another like family so that we can also transform cities. We're not just a community, we're a community on mission. And so missional community is a value at Surprise. Equipping the saints. Like I talked earlier about our callings, God has given each of us giftings and callings. And so we want to equip the saints for ministry. My job as a pastor, if I'm doing my job right, my job is to help you do your job as a believer and a follower of Jesus at Surprise. That means you're not going to see me doing everything for everyone. I'm going to try to raise up a community of leaders that learns how to pastor, that learns how to teach, that learns how to train and guide and lead and serve, so that we have a community of saints who are equipped in the gospel in light of how God's gifted them. That means number 5 has to be true. We multiply leaders. You'll see more and more people that you don't recognize in leadership at Surprise. And you'll say, oh, who's that person? And what are they doing in that role? And it's all part of our desire to make sure that when God gives people gifts and they believe in Jesus, that's a dynamic combination. And we want to raise up leaders to take responsibility for new ministries, and that they themselves will multiply themselves by raising up leaders. So we want to be a community of leadership at Surprise. We also want to be radically generous. We want to be known as a church that is giving in every way, generous in our community, full of people who have really gotten past themselves as a people who have huge needs and more think about what kind of impact can I make because I have been radically blessed. And when you believe you've been radically blessed, you can be radically generous. Lastly, we want to be stubbornly simple. So there's no fireworks behind me. I'm sitting in my kitchen. There's no huge water slide set up outside church on Sunday. Number 1, it'd be too cold. And number 2, we try to keep things pretty simple at Surprise so that we keep the main thing the main thing. So when you support Surprise financially, when you participate Surprise, when you volunteer at Surprise, we're not gonna try to not pull you in all kinds of directions or spread those resources too thin. We're going to prioritize on helping people grow in community so that we can equip the saints for ministry. So those are our values. Those are in our master plan for 2021. They're also in our Surprise 101 course. They're in our Constitution. But speaking of our master plan, I'm really excited about our master plan for 2021. Every year, so important for you to know, we have a critically thought through, prayerful master plan that maps out where we believe God is calling us in the year ahead. We, as a staff, get together in October and build that plan. And I just want to take you through some of the highlights of that plan. First of all, the head page of that plan, the primary section that says who we are at Surprise. It says, our plan at Surprise, we exist, our purpose is to be the surprise of God to the world in need. Now, that's never going to change, and we'll never be finished with that. We're never going to wake up and say, we're done surprising people. But our mission will change when we accomplish it. Our next big objective, like NASA wants to get to Mars, our next mission, our next big objective, we want to have 175 of you, whether you're in Bismarck or whether you live in Belgrade, Minnesota, or LA, California, if you're watching virtually. We want to have 175 people in a group or a team, virtual or in person, by the year's end. Because we believe that the more people are gathered into those discipleship environments, it's going to be like a heartbeat of blood flow to the body of Christ. You're going to find growth possible that you never thought possible, and you're going to be impacting others in a way you never thought possible. And so that's our mission. So our purpose doesn't change. Our mission is something we can accomplish and say we did it. And so we hope to celebrate that at the end of 2021. Our vision is us imagining where we're going to be someday. It's us living in our imagination into God's future if we accomplish that mission. So the dream we chase at Surprise is this. Imagine a church that leaves the building to love one another like family and transform cities. That's who we want to be. We want to be a church that says, okay, it's Sunday, let's pack everything up, put it in the trailer. We walk out of an empty gym because church leaves the building when we leave worship, and we get to be the church daily all week long. Let's take a look at our 1 and 3 year goals. This is also something I think will be really helpful to you, just so you know where this church is going and where God's taking us. As I said, our annual goals for 2021, we want to have 175 people in groups and teams. That's our big mission. We have some other goals. Number one, we want to gather a database of 3,000 people who have subscribed to us because they believe that Surprise is helpful and they want more of what we're providing. So you're going to see routinely resources come out on our Facebook page and email saying, hey, if you would like this helpful PDF, if you'd like some information about parenting, if you'd like some ideas for how to use Christmas break, if you'd like some safety tips for Halloween, just sign up for this email and we'll send you free stuff. We want to establish a helpful presence in our community. And we do that by just creating helpful resources and offering helpful resources for free. And we'd like to be known in such a way that thousands of people reach out and subscribe and are on an ongoing communications list in relationship with us long before they attend Surprise, long before they give to Surprise, but just because that's part of establishing a relationship with people digitally that hopefully will lead to some personal connections. We'd like to increase our budget by 25%. This past year, we lost 50% of our givers. They just stopped giving. And now we're starting to see people kind of hit reset on their giving as kind of COVID hopefully fades into the horizon, please God. We're starting to see givers re-engage. And so our budget, we believe, will be able to reallocate funds towards our important outreach endeavors and ministries that we put pause on because we've been extremely frugal with the budget that we have had. And our staff has done a fantastic job. We actually balanced our budget for 2020. And so we're thrilled with how we were able to manage, but we're also excited to re-increase our budget back to some of those projects that we have on hold right now. We want to double the number of engaged families at Surprise, and we are looking forward to a summer season where we'll have a worship service on Sunday, and we'll have it on Wednesday. We're going to have that midweek thing that was such a successful experiment this last year. We're going to be building our worship and media and our welcome teams so that we're going to be comfortably able, we're not going to spread the same people thin. We're going to have more people involved, and we're going to be preparing ourselves to be able to offer those environments this summer. In 3 years, we hope to have 300 people in a group or a team. That'll almost be double where we hope to be at the end of this year. We're hoping to have a database of people that just love the resources we share of 10,000, and we hope to increase our monthly budget by 100% or to double the budget that we currently have within 3 years. And so please be praying about these goals, and please be praying about how you can help to move that needle forward in any way that you can. If you've got a talent to offer, if you've got ideas, we'd love to have you involved in these goals. As we start 2021, we really want to emphasize some of those basic bedrock spiritual disciplines that allow us to serve God faithfully. So here's a link to or a visual of our new series that's starting on January 3rd, Comfy Sunday, What If I Pray? And I'm going to show you right now a little trailer video, a little preview video that explains what this teaching series is going to cover. So check this out. So that's going to be a great series. We'll be providing resources for prayer, free Bibles. We'll make sure that you have an opportunity to connect with a community group so that you can talk about the subjects that are raised in these messages. But we live in a world that wonders, what if? We ask at Surprise, what if I pray? What if we turn our worries into opportunities to enact the power of the living God? So join us as we kind of reset our spiritual compasses and reinvigorate our church as we head into the new year, listening to God and seeking God in prayer. I want to close with a story from Acts chapter 2. Acts chapter 2 is a story of the church being born, and you'll notice that it looks a lot like what we're trying to do at Surprise. A church that leaves the building to love people like family and to transform cities. Watch how this was from the very beginning, and I think you're going to see the roots of our vision at Surprise and our values at Surprise. Acts 2 says they devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and to fellowship. So these people were not just churchgoers. They weren't just consumers of religious goods and services. They didn't just listen to a podcast when they felt like it. They were devoted to one another and to teaching and prayer. Everyone was filled with awe at the many wonders and signs performed by the apostles. All the believers were together and had everything in common. They're all just in awe of God's power. They're devoted to one another and to the teaching of scriptures, and they are radically generous, sharing everything in common. They sold property and possessions to anyone who had need. Verse 46, every day, you see that? Every day. This is not a Sunday thing. The average person attends church once or twice a month. That is not a faith-building exercise. Faith is an everyday act because we have an everyday God. Can you imagine if God showed up once or twice a month in your life? Not good, right? Can you imagine if the sun rose once or twice a month? Not good. Your flowers would die. So would we, right? We have an everyday God, and so we follow him every day. Every day they continued to meet together in the temple courts. They broke bread in their homes. They ate together with glad and sincere hearts, praising God and enjoying the favor of all people. And the Lord added to their number, say it with me, folks, daily those who were being saved. Here's the deal. Daily faith that happens in homes leads to daily life change. Because these believers took faith so seriously in Jesus, they did something about it. They ate together, they shared together, they welcomed the community to experience the living God together, and there were people all around them being invited into this Christ-centered family every day. Because it wasn't just inviting people to church once or twice a month, it was living a life that became contagious to the neighbors and to community residents around them. And it changed people's lives daily. The church exploded when it became an everyday church. So imagine a church that leaves the building. That's where we'll leave today. As we head into 2021, imagine a church named Surprise Church that may get together on Sundays. We gather. We don't call it services. We call them gatherings because we just gather. And then we leave the building to love one another like family, transform cities every single day. Can't wait to do that with you this year. God bless you, and join us on our exciting mission in 2021. We'll see you soon. See you for Comfy Sunday.
We've waited for this day. We're gathered in your name, calling out to you. Your glory like a fire, awakening desire will burn our hearts with truth. You're the reason we're here. You're the reason we're singing. Open up the heavens, we want to see you. Open up the floodgates, a mighty river flowing from your heart, filling every part of our praise. Your presence in this place, your glory on our face, we're looking to the skies. Show us, show us your glory. Show us your power. Show us your glory, Lord. Open up the heavens, we want to see you. Open up the floodgates, a mighty river flowing from your heart, filling every part of our praise. Oh, open up the heavens, we want to see you. Open up the floodgates, a mighty river flowing from your heart, filling every part of our praise. Let's sing it one more time. Open up. So open up the heavens, we want to see you. Open up the floodgates, a mighty river flowing from your heart, filling every part of our praise. Who am I that the highest king would welcome me? I was lost, but he brought me in. Oh, his love for me. Oh, his love for me. Who the sun sets free, oh, is free indeed. I'm a child of God, yes I am. Free at last, he has ransomed me. His grace runs deep. While I was a slave to sin,